So I started my page with a miniature jelly plate here, and the colour that I chose was this kind of green gold, and oh man, did it turn out to be the most butt ugly colour I could possibly have picked in my entire repertoire of paint. I'm adding in some purple here, but it's not quite at this stage that I realised quite how disgusting the colour actually turned out. It doesn't look that bad in the video, but I can assure you it really was, and it required some major doctoring to try and make it look that little bit better. And here I am, just adding more of this horrible green colour into it. And I think it's around this stage that I kind of realised, something's not quite right here. So out came the gesso with the catalyst to try and mute down the colours a little bit more. You'll see towards the end the page did actually turn out really nice, but it just shows you that there is an ugly stage for every page, and sometimes you just have to work through it. So I've added in some Payne's Grey here with my catalyst, again just in some random places to get some extra texture and extra colours going, and in this case it was Opera Pink to the rescue. So I used my finger here to put in the Opera Pink. I love this colour so much, and it goes so well with the Payne's Grey, and it just really distracted from the horribleness that was that kind of green gold. The green gold doesn't look quite so bad now. I've added in the extra layers of gesso on top of it, so if you do find the colour is too strong or you just don't like it, just grab a bit of gesso and push it back into the background, and you'll find it does wonders for the page. So this stamp is a small one that I carved myself from an eraser, so I'm just stamping it randomly across the page to give me a little bit more pattern, and I'll also work into these circle, square thing shapes that I made, and I'll add in some extra colour just to give me some extra definition across the page. So here's another stamp that I carved myself. This is just some random circles. So again, I'm stamping with some StazOn ink, and I'm just giving myself a little bit of extra texture across my page. I'm using here the gesso to just white out some areas, just to give myself a bit more variety of colour, and I might want to go in and add in some extra colour or texture to these areas. So using the gesso here, just like a white paint, to just bring down the background shades, just bring up the white a little bit more, and just add a little bit more interest into my page. It's an extra layer with an extra layer of paint, and it just keeps the journal page going and keeps the interest. So these are my oil pastels from Sennelier, and these are metallic ones. You could use any oil pastels that you have, you don't have to have the metallic ones, but I just happen to have these and I really like using them. They're really nice and rich and creamy. The oil pastels will go over anything that you have on your journal page. Just be aware that wherever you put them, you're not going to be able to add in any extra texture on top because the oil creates a resist, so just be careful where you put them. I'm going in here now with one of my new favourites. This is a Winsor & Newton watercolour marker, and not only does it act just like a regular felt tip pen, but then you can also go in and add water to your lines or your shapes like I'm doing here, and it gives you some really interesting variety and texture. I love the way it blends with the background. And of course, no journal page of mine would be complete without a Liquitex paint marker. I'm using it here to create some scribbled lines, and I'm going to go in with my mechanical pencil and just add in some random words and journaling to the page. as I said earlier, I'm just going in now where I've stamped, just adding in some extra details with my paint markers, and I'll go back in again with some black, just working with the shapes that I've already created within the journal, just to add a little bit more depth to them. As you can see, there's very little of that ugly green gold left on the page. Mostly it's the Payne's grey and the opera pink, and that is the way it should be as far as I'm concerned.